New watch, new babe.
Nope. Nope. No way. No how. Not doing it. No. Listen, Linda. Listen. Bro, did y'all read the title? I'm pretty sure y'all read the title because you clicked on the video and you're just as curious, anxious, confused, and all the other adjectives that go along with the title of this video. 10 people who woke up at their own funeral. Now, let's just start with the first part of that. 10 people have done this. 10. What's the Spanish for 10? 10. 10 people have woke up at their own funeral. How is that even possible? How do we go on? If we're married, is it over? And you coming back means we have to redo everything? Because you're technically, in my eyes, either you're a new person or you're a person that's waiting to change into a walker, like off of Walking Dead. What? No, that's not supposed to happen like that. That's not supposed to happen like that. Bro, I would be, I guess I would go through a range of emotions. You know? Confused, scared, pissed off. You know? What does this mean? What did you see? Talk to me. Do you remember me? Like, I would have an endless bevy of questions to just give to you. Onslaught. So I'm anxious to see, man. Shout outs to Top 10s for this video right here in advance. But let's check this craziness out, man. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, bro.
Just imagine one day you're mourning your friend or loved one at their funeral. That's when all of a sudden they wake up. This may sound like something from fiction, but believe it or not, it's...
Who's to say when they wake up? Like, see, this is the problem. We don't watch too many movies. Sci-fi, horror, scary, thriller, all that type of stuff. We watch too many types of movies, man. And normally, when something's at the gravesite is coming back alive or waking up, you need to give it 2 to the head, bro. You need to, as, what was the movie? Oh, I can't remember the movie right now. Oh, where he was, oh man. And he had all these rules for if you get in a situation, man, what you was supposed to do. You know, you got to be able to run and you got to be able to double tap. You know what I'm saying? He had all these rules. And if I can remember the movie right now, I'd tell y'all. But yeah, man, anything you ever seen in the movie, if something's coming back to life at the graveside, you need to hit it again. Headshot style, or maybe in the heart. I don't know.
It's happened many times in real life before. From people everyone had thought had passed on, but they were wrong, to people who faked their own passing and funeral just to see who would turn up. Noella Recundo. The story of Noella Recundo made headlines around the world in 2016. She lives in Australia, but one day she had to return to her home of Burundi. This was to attend the funeral of her stepmother. What she didn't know, however, was her husband had arranged a hitman to take her out when she was there. When Noella arrived in Burundi, the hitmen grabbed her, but when they realized her own husband had ordered the hit, they gave her freedom. Noella then returned home. However, the hitmen told her husband that they completed the job. That's because they still wanted to get paid. So Noella's husband, believing that she'd been taken out, arranged her funeral. But he was stunned when Noella confronted him at her own funeral. Later on, her husband, Balenga, was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Noella then went on to start a new life with her 8 children. It's crazy that this couple had been married for 10 years and then Balenga decided to do that. Thankfully, the hitmen were outraged, otherwise Noella would not have left Burundi alive. But just imagine the look on her husband's face when she shows up at her own funeral he planned.
I know he was like, oh no, baby? You know, you try to switch it up. Baby, is that you?
Matthew Wall. This took place in the village of Brawning, Hertfordshire, England. On the 2nd of October, the town came together for the funeral of local farmer Matthew Wall. But on the way to the funeral, one of the pallbearers dropped the coffin. That may sound like a bad thing, but it's actually a great thing that it happened. That's because the jolt was enough to wake up Matthew Wall. Matthew the farmer then went on to live for 2 more decades. And his coming back to life is a continued celebration for the village of Brawning. It's not known if he was simply sleeping or in a coma, but...
So now should we drop caskets every now and again just to make sure that a person is truly dead? I don't really know what to take from that one. I'm not doing it though. If somebody else wants to volunteer, that's a dirty job that I don't want no parts of. Because when do you do it? When the family's there grieving, crying, you know what I mean? It's not the time to experiment. And then if he doesn't come back to life, what do you look like? Yeah, I don't suggest people try that out.
His vital signs were checked many times and he was confirmed to not be alive. It's kind of scary hearing this. It makes you wonder how many people are buried alive.
Exactly was my next thing. How many people were actually still alive that were buried? How many people have been killed that wasn't dead?
Gilberto Araujo. Just imagine if your entire family thought you'd passed away, when in reality you're alive and well. This is what happened to Gilberto Araujo of Brazil. In 2012, he was confirmed to not be alive. This was after his brother identified his body at a local morgue. His family members and friends were all standing around his coffin mourning him. But that's when Gilberto turned up at the door. So what happened? Well, it turned out it was a case of mistaken identity. Gilberto Araujo worked at a car washer's in Alagoinhos, Brazil. At that same car wash, another car washer had been taken out. The other car washer looked a lot like Gilberto, and that's why Gilberto's brother mistook the car washer for him. I'm guessing the two brothers weren't that close. Or maybe the other car washer was hard to recognize from his injuries. Either way, his friends and family were shocked when Gilberto walked into his own funeral. But this must not have only been a shock for his family, but for him too. Just imagine being alive when your entire family thinks you're not. Nisiphorous Glycus. Nisiphorous Glycus was a bishop working at a church in Lesbos, Greece. That's when one day he was found and declared to not be alive. In accordance with tradition, his body was left on display in the Methymni church. But after 2 nights of his body being on display, something scary happened. Nisiphorous sat up and demanded to know what was going on. It turned out he was alive and well. He said he'd simply been having a long nap. But others believe he may have fell into some kind of coma. Local medics had checked his vital signs and confirmed he was not living. As he was in this ancient church, some believed a miracle had occurred, while others thought perhaps it was a bizarre medical phenomenon. Mohammed Rahan. One day, Mohammed Rahan of Damascus...
Alright, I don't like the fact that they now putting their names on like gravestones in this video, even if they animate it. I don't like that part right there. Did anybody else been noticing that? Like this is giving me weird vibes.
Believed a miracle had occurred, while others thought perhaps it was a bizarre medical phenomenon. Mohammed Rahan.
See?
One day, Mohammed Rahan of Damascus, Syria was at a local market. That was when there was a big airstrike nearby. The local market took the force of the blast. For whatever reason, he was reported as passing away. It was said he was buried under the rubble and sadly did not make it. But that was only half true. His friends and family organized his funeral. And a few days later, with no body, this went ahead. But his friends and family were relieved when he turned up just as his funeral was coming to an end. Mohammed had been buried under the rubble for 36 hours. But eventually, without a rescue team, he was able to free himself. When he walked into the funeral, there was still debris stuck in his hair and beard. Just imagine if you were his loved one. It would have been an emotional roller coaster hearing he'd passed on.
Hey man, y'all don't give up on me that easy. Please, friends, families, loved ones, all y'all. bro. A bomb happens. I'm supposed to be somewhere there and I'm trapped. Don't give up 36 hours and y'all were through. Don't give up on me that easy, bro. You know what I mean? I love y'all, man. I'm here for y'all. I love y'all, bro. Don't give up on me that easy. Jeez. 36 hours and they called it. It's over for him.
And then finding out he was okay. Walter Williams. On February 26, 2014, Walter Williams of Mississippi was confirmed to not be alive. He was 78 years old at the time. All of the paperwork was completed and he was put into a body bag. He was then taken to a funeral home. But one day before his funeral, as he was being prepared, something strange happened. The coroner noticed him breathing very lightly. Then all of a sudden his legs began to move and it was clear that Walter was alive. He was taken to a hospital and it was confirmed he was in fact alive. But this respawn sadly did not last too long. That's because 2 weeks later he passed away for real. His nephew was quoted as saying, "I think he's actually gone this time." Again, an emotional
Do you know? I was just about to say too, that's an emotional roller coaster I want no parts of. Can you imagine that? Your close family member, whether it be your dad, your brother, or somebody, you think they passed, you're starting to go through the grieving process and everything like that. Then miraculously, whoa, he's alive. Then that's like, oh, excitement, joy, brought back. Then 2 weeks later, it's back down again, and you got to go through this process again. I guess one way you look at it is you got to spend extra time that you didn't think you had with that person, so enjoy those moments. But also, I can't negate the fact of that feeling of going through the grieving process again, twice. Like, double jeopardy on like, that's crazy.
roller coaster hearing that a loved one passed on, they were alive, and then they passed on again. It may sound like fiction, but this really can happen. This is known as Lazarus syndrome, which is where you pass on and then come back to life. Mohammed Furkan. In 2019, Mohammed Furkan's family were very sad. A grave had been dug and they were about to bury their loved one. That's when the incredible happened. All of a sudden, Mohammed, who was supposedly not alive, began to move. He had confirmed to not be alive by multiple doctors. But the 20-year-old was actually fine. He was rushed to a hospital and placed on a ventilator. The 20-year-old had been involved in a road incident. And apparently his family were only told he was not alive when they stopped paying the hospital bills because they ran out of money. This prompted an investigation into the healthcare system of the state of Uttar Pradesh. His older brother said the family had been left traumatized by the roller coaster of emotions. And frankly, I can see why. Zhang Di.
Lose my mind. They'd have had to put them doctors in protective custody, bro. Are you kidding me? What type of oath do you take? Like, when we run out of money, that person's life is no longer significant? Oh my God. Yeah, they would have needed to go in protective custody.
Yeah. Zhang Diyang was a 66-year-old man from China, but one day he had an idea to stage his own funeral. He arranged it himself, simply to see how many people would show up. He was curious because he'd never been married and never had any children. In Chinese culture, the passed on are said to have needs. Their graves are supposed to be visited on a regular basis to ensure these needs are met. It turned out that 40 invitees turned up to Zhang's funeral, along with several hundred others. But incredibly, he still was not happy. 20 friends and relatives did not show up, and he was quoted as saying, "I can't believe so many relatives and friends don't care about me. Frankly, I'd be pretty happy if over 100 people showed up to my funeral." Camille.
Another kid in your family that they always say it's just attention seeking. You know, that kid, that was him. Who fakes their own funeral just to see who would show up, bro? Are you that full of yourself? Are you that full of yourself to actually carry that out and still get mad? Let me calm it down. And still get mad when certain people don't show up after you had 100 people plus turn out? People, bro. People. I can't stand some people, man.
One day, a 25-year-old Polish man had drank too much vodka. His friends called for an ambulance when he collapsed at a bar. He was then taken to a hospital and was confirmed to not be alive. But when he went to the morgue, it was found he was actually alive still. Rather than go home, the man named Camille went right back to the bar where his friends still were. And just like that, they picked up where they left off, drinking vodka. But now it's time for you to make your voice heard. Which was the most incredible story?
I think, yeah, that one there, bro. Fake his own death. Fake his own death just to see who would show up, bro. That person, right? I don't even want to know nobody like that, bro. At all. If you got to do that, yeah, stay away from me. Far, far away from me, fam. Oh my gosh, would y'all do that? Fake your own death just to see who would show up. Who cares who would show up? Who cares? Who cares? What do you gain out of that? So what? So what? That's what. Oh my gosh. Let me leave it alone, man. This shouldn't stress me out like that, but it is. Oh man, y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what y'all thought of this video, man. 10 people who woke up at their own funeral, and one of those 10 who actually just scheduled it. He scheduled his own, like in an appointment, like scheduled it to see who would come, and he was there taking notes and being pissed off. He should have tripped and fell in the casket and got stuck, and it would have been in. Let me go. It's your boy L, man. Until the next reaction, I'm gone. Peace.